Going live. And it says you are live. G'day, everyone. I am here at the Blender Conference in Amsterdam, joined with, of course, the one and only Ton Roosendaal and Pablo Vazquez.
Ton Roosendaal.
Oh, did I mispronounce it?
Roosendaal.
Yeah, but if I say it like that.
Say it, Roosendaal.
Okay, Ton Roosendaal.
Yeah, that's it. Good, that's my name.
And did I get yours right? Is it Vazquez?
Vazquez.
Vazquez. All right.
Yeah.
So we're off to a good start. Mispronounce both names.
Vazquez and Roosendaal.
Price.
Okay.
Andrew P. Price. Where's the P coming from?
My middle name, Peter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Peter Price.
Yeah, because somebody else always has Andrew Price in the thing. Yeah. And there's a guy who has Andrew Price like domain. I tried to buy it, and he's like, not interested. I'm like, what about more money? He's like, go away. Basically, no. Yeah. But anyways, we are here to talk about the future of Blender. And I thought your talk, your opening keynote, was very great. There was a lot of mixed voices about it. I just came back from Lightbox, right? And all the students in LA in concept art are now learning Blender. So congratulations. Mm-hmm. It's finally industry standard for previs. Yeah. Always previs, concept, always at the front end of production. How do we get it into the production, and do you care?
Yeah. Well, in my talk I said I don't really care.
I know, that's why there's a mixed reaction.
But in that sense, I do not much care for big studio pipelines with hundreds of people. But that's the studios, they can solve that themselves. And those pipelines are very typical, constructed to make a big production happen. And they use the technology from the past, 2-3-year-old software, to make it super stable and to make it reliable. They are not waiting for Blender. That doesn't mean that Blender would not work there, but this is not a natural target group for us. So what we should work with is with individuals and small teams and enable them to make stunning content. Like this morning was Patrick Osborne, a talk. He's a big studio, a big Hollywood guy. He did many big feature films. And he's talking how he and his team is empowered by Blender to do the whole development around film together, including at the end to some tweaks, and the beginning to do the development, to do the grease pencil, to have things ready for the sets. So for them, Blender is really good because it allows them to be creative.
Okay.
And I think that's a good focus for Blender. And of course, you should be able to make an end result, a really good movie or a game or design and other things. Yeah. You should be able to work on that, but that should be possible by small teams as well. And making it possible for Pixar, for DreamWorks, they're not waiting for us. That was a little bit the meaning of my talk.
Yeah. What about devil's advocate? What if it's like a pipeline like they need to be able to export in a certain format that Blender does not yet support, but could with development? Are you saying basically they would build their own pipeline to support that? That's what you mean?
Well, they already do.
Okay.
Right? And they have Maya already built in the pipeline for 25 years. And it's so much optimized and pre-configured and configured and with scripting and Python and everything.
Yes.
Even though Maya is a problem for them because it's not really in development anymore, they look at the replacement. It is an illusion to think that you just can plug out Maya and then put Blender back.
Yes.
Because we don't have that 25 years of history with studios to make Blender work for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And if studios would say, we don't mind investing in it, because we would really like to have Blender to work for us, they're very welcome, right?
Mm-hmm,
We really like studios to say, we want to take some responsibility for Blender development. And then they can take care of their own things. Mm-hmm. But they cannot make me or the Blender community responsible for that. So they cannot lean back and say, well, we're not going to use Blender unless you fix all those 500 things that we need for the pipeline. So they can say, I would say, fix it yourself. Fix it. Please come on board and fix all the things that you need. Because you also did that for Maya. Why don't you do that for Blender?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Pablo? In agreement? Anything to add?
No, I think it all nails down to what Tom's been saying for many years already. It's like we Like we don't want Blender in Hollywood. We want Hollywood in Blender.
And that also means that people like you should be able to make Hollywood content, Hollywood quality content, without the need of being a Hollywood studio. And that's something that will make millions and millions of artists happy.
Yes.
And that's a good focus. That doesn't mean that I will not want to work with Hollywood. Of course not. Of course, I like them. I find them an inspiration. And we have the same passion, so that's all good. But I focus on everyone on the planet to become good, high-quality artists.
Right, right.
And you like that too. It's also you are not working with Hollywood either.
No. I mean, I guess just thinking from the, like, for example, I met with Alex Alvarez in LA, who's head of Noman School. And he said that they have not yet had, because basically recruiters and studios tell them what workflows they need students to learn in order to be part of the studio. And they have not yet had a Blender request. Right. They think it's coming, but they've not yet had that request. And I guess like from the point of like, I agree, like studios can be like, you know, stubborn and like, no, you sell to us. Yeah. Yes, you want us to change. But at the same time, there's a whole bunch of students that I met at Lightbox that loved Blender. And they use Blender at home, but at school they have to learn Maya purely because it's not in production.
Criminal. Those schools should know better, right? Schools should know better. But it's Hollywood, right? Yeah. Hollywood is not everywhere. Like in India, they have a movie industry that's almost as big as Hollywood, or maybe even bigger. Yeah. And the Triple R movie, half of it was Blender. Yeah. If you go to France, right, all the studios, like I think really all the studios are using Blender.
Really?
They're using it
like
partially.
animation studios that do like TV or
TV, film, everything. So there's a whole world outside of Hollywood, of course. So if you go to LA, of course you get artists who work for the movie industry in LA. Yeah. But that's just a little bit of the world, right? There's 30,000 people. But there are also people working on movies in France. And in France they invented movies, you know. That's not made in Hollywood. So French studios, if you talk here to people who come from different studio backgrounds.
Yes, it is true.
So I know it is. It takes some time. That's one thing because we know that many Hollywood productions currently are using Blender for things. It's especially Grease Pencil that is getting all the attention. That Patrick Osborne is using Grease Pencil for big Hollywood productions.
Patrick Osborne.
Patrick Osborne. Look at the talk of this morning in the theater.
The first talk, he's the director of Fist, the Disney. He has an Oscar. We got an Oscar winning.
You missed him.
I did miss it.
So Hollywood is here talking
already. What are we doing here?
And I know more of them. So there will be. I know a lot of information, but I unfortunately hear that in confidence, so I can't talk about it. Yes. But for sure. A lot of Hollywood films are working with Blender, and or partially for little things, especially Grease Pencil. That's fantastic, and we are talking to the industry, also big studios, on how to collaborate with them on projects so that they can take ownership of certain parts of Blender. Yeah, and of course, especially because of USD. That's the
I'm excited about that. Yeah,
USD needs to further evolve, and. Pixar and others who are working on USD, they really think that Blender is a great opportunity for them to make a public reference tool for USD for loading and saving and testing things.
Yeah. Is NVIDIA the one investing in the Blender's USD support?
Yeah. NVIDIA has a full-time developer working on Blender USD.
Nice.
And there are some others who work on this.
Yeah. I think that's a super exciting, like of all the things in like the last 5-10 years, I'm like, damn, if USD takes off, like interoperability might finally happen. It's a big thing. It's pretty cool.
I still have to see it happen.
I
have to see it happen because they always hope this, right? And then there are problems. Yeah. The biggest problem with USD is the lack of a character system.
Yes.
Character animation.
Right. Okay.
Because it is impossible to make a one standard definition of how characters should work for 3D. Everybody has their own ideas, right?
Yes.
You know Blender a little bit, so You have drivers and the constraints and the bones and all these ways how to control characters in Blender.
Yeah.
And then you have to copy that to Maya or to Houdini or Maxon or whatever software. And they all have their own ideas about how things work.
Yeah, right.
But so a mesh model or shaders, they are quite uniform nowadays.
Yeah.
You can convert those with USD. But for characters...
which is kind of ironic coming from... USD is made by Pixar.
I know.
So
yeah.
and that's one of the dangers, even though it is open source, is that everybody has their own implementation. So you have USD, but there is the Houdini USD, Maya USD, the Pixar USD, and then...
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so we should try to avoid ending up with the Blender USD and...
Or NVIDIA USD, Omniverse USD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Careful, because you had that same problem with Alembic. Alembic is a very flexible format, but it was so flexible that there was not a lot of difference between a Maya file and Maya Alembic. So Blender can save an Alembic file, and then nobody could read it because it was Blender Alembic. Right? So with USD, you don't want that. You want to have this really universal. And
I think the Metaverse Standards Forum is
they hope to solve that USD, especially for internet streaming and data on the web, that USD will take off. Yeah, and that's feasible.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, that's NVIDIA's main use, right? Omniverse, so they can collaborate in the same app.
The one thing I wish USD had that it doesn't is flexible material shaders. So currently, because like we were investigating it at Polygon like a lot, and we basically learned that like it's only designed for preview shaders. So you have to plug in like Material X. Yeah. So that's basically what everyone is doing. USD for everything except shaders, which is Material X, which is like, I don't know why they couldn't have just...
It's like, come on, if we're going to get a universal one.
I know, why not? It was so close.
I haven't tried, but is it limited for you, Material X?
It's open source.
Yeah, but is it limited in feature set?
No, it does pretty much everything you need. I mean, like it obviously, like if you've got a custom thing that only Blender has, it's not that, but it does, all the standard math, the mix, the blend, all that kind of stuff, which is what you need like 99% of the time.
But you said you still find it a problem because it's not flexible enough?
No, the USD preview shader.
Oh, the preview on it.
Because USD does, that's all it has for the shader. It's only got a preview shader. So that's the only thing that can be embedded in USD.
It was recently added to Blender. At first, for a long time, USD in Blender didn't come with any materials. But now you can toggle like preview, and it's going to make a quick material that looks okay in cycles.
So you're talking about the Blender USD?
Yeah.
No, just USD format standard. There is no proper shader built into USD, which blew my mind. I was like, what?
Okay, well.
Okay. Yeah. I was surprised too. But anyways, and I spoke to the NVIDIA guys, and they basically said the same thing. It looks like, well, actually, they're pushing for MDL, because they've NVIDIA's...
Yeah, they want MDL.
Well, they open sourced it, but it's like, I think everyone's going Material X.
Officially, it's meant all to be wrappers around it, right? So you can have your own shader system, and then USD can wrap around it. So USD was not meant to have its own shader definition.
Right.
And the same thing is for characters. They want to have some kind of black box.
Yeah.
What you do exactly, this can be Blender's business or Maya's business, and then you have to export it to some way, like Alembic or so, and then you have a way to transport your data to the pipeline.
Yeah.
Of course, USD was not designed to be the metaverse HTML, right? It was meant to be a production file format to manage films, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be able with different tools to work on the same movie, and then you make one rendering from it.
Yes.
So that's quite a good focus for it, and
there's
it becomes really big suddenly, and that's different.
There's some debate, because apparently like glTF is much better for streaming data, because it's much lower. It's a smaller file size if something is glTF versus USD, because it's like a kind of a read-only kind of format, whereas USD is more. It's like it's got layers. It's like basically they said like glTF is kind of like JPEGs of the 3D world, and USD is like a Photoshop file, PSD, which is like, maybe streaming in the metaverse actually will not be USD, but authoring USD. Yeah. Anyways, I know you've only got like a few minutes, 10 or so minutes before you shoot off, and then it's just going to be me and Pablo. But before you go, I wanted to ask, in our first interview in LA, like 4 or 5 years ago, you mentioned the early days of Blender.
Yeah.
You had this investment funding thing you were doing with NeoGeo. You were flying around the world. You were meeting investors. You raised, how much was it you raised?
4.5 million.
4.5 million.
I had a business partner, right? Who did
Okay.
most of it.
Yes.
I helped him. We did it together. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of curious because like I speak to like a lot of, business people who do the fundraising thing, and they're all like, like, let's crush capitalism, let's sell, we got to make money, that kind of thing. And it seems like you went that route, and then I wonder, did something happen which made you go to like, nah, now let's go like
that's not
communist, or you know what I mean? Not communist, but
communist.
everything for everyone.
Communist.
Socialism.
No, but I think one of the things that I believe what makes the Blender project special is that I'm still like an entrepreneur.
Yes.
The Blender project is not, I always try to do really good things. This conference, for example, this could be Google, right here.
Yes.
The decadent place and the well-organized lunch and everything, right? That doesn't feel like a communist party here.
That's true.
Even though this building used to be the Communist Party head office.
Get out.
Yeah?
Are you shitting me?
But maybe those communists in those days had a lot of money,
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's quite luxe. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But going
They
back
do have
to,
vegan lunches, though. That's working against you.
The problem with raising funding is that you lose control. Because investors are not idiots. They give you some funding in exchange for shares.
Yes.
And they expect your shares not to double or so. They want to have tenfold at least. That's the target. Because of the 10 investments, usually only one of them really booms. Maybe one or two of them, they get break even, and the rest goes bankrupt.
I think it's changed now. Now it's actually more like they invest in like 100 or 1,000 companies, and only one of them needs to succeed.
Even worse.
It's
Okay,
worse.
So they
They
want to have
hope
a thousand
one of them.
times more money.
Exactly.
Out of it. So
yes.
So that means the stress and the pressure on the people who accept venture capital is very high.
Yeah.
And so you have to play their game.
Yes.
And that is not always the best product or the best way how you want to lead a company.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was the reason why I don't want to work with investors anymore, because I lose too much control. And I am not driven by money, right? But the whole idea of making a lot of money is not really my inspiration. But what I'm inspired by is making sure that this next metaverse that is coming, that is a really cool thing that we and me and everybody will have access to. I want to fight that fight. And if that requires to get funding and to get investments in, that's fine. But I'm not going to sell this, right? I'm not going to allow people who fund this project to have control over it. So that's the difference. So as a foundation and as an open source project, you can work with the community. And of course, communities always have their own ideas as well, and what you have to be sensible for. But it's much easier to work with the community than to work with investors. I can tell you that. Really much easier.
Yeah.
I feel empowered and very free in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't have had that when I had money and a company.
Uh-huh.
I didn't feel free.
Yeah.
You were running in a treadmill and you were going in places and think, oh my God. And then they want to sell the company and then what, right? And you end up with money on the bank. But I was not in control.
Yeah, right.
So
I've heard of similar stories. Yeah.
So some people can manage it, right? But
Yes.
I couldn't. I couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm more a maker, right? I want to make things. I want to make films. I want to make Blender. I want to make conferences. I like to make products.
Yeah.
That's what drives me. So
Yeah.
that's so I'm in a better position now.
Yeah.
And now for the Blender Lab, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm talking to
Tell us about the Blender Lab.
wealthy individuals and trying to get them to fund this.
What is explain Blender Lab?
It's short. So if you would look at the future, the coming 5 years, the Blender is a little bit in danger of becoming obsolete if we are not doing anything about it, because there's lots of development going on. And you can see that the market is changing quickly. I think that Autodesk and the Foundry, they are dropping the ball. This is not their future. And you see Epic and Unity and Adobe picking it up.
Yes.
They are going to make the tools for the future.
Yes.
Epic and Unity especially are going to make tools for real-time environments. That you can almost edit your work in a running engine.
Okay.
And this is exciting, right?
It is.
That's something I want to have for Blender already for 20 years. You know?
Yeah.
Of course. So, but they are doing it. And Adobe, I think they are doing quite a good job on what they do with Substance and everything around it. It's high quality stuff.
Model is exciting. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Adobe will make a very strong cloud component for this, so that you can have good cloud computing and everything. So things have to come online, things have to become collaborative, things have to become real time. So there are a lot of new things we have to do in order for Blender to keep being relevant.
Yeah.
And that means that's a big investment in a new version of Blender somewhere in the future that is still relevant.
Yeah.
And we are already fighting every day and getting Blender to work, right? And doing the daily stuff.
Yeah.
And for the outside point, maybe it looks like as a Blender is running really fast, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, every release has new features and we don't know what's
yeah.
going on. But from the inside point of view, it is very slow.
Really?
Oh man, it goes like...
So you've got bigger
It
ideas.
takes like forever to do one thing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes,
Yeah.
right? But most people feel like that. It takes a long time to get something done.
Yeah.
So for my point of view, because we want to do so many other things.
Yeah.
So
So what is labs?
so the lab idea is to establish a team of 5 or 10 very highly competent people and give them 5 years time to come with a complete new version of Blender.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't get that from the presentation.
I missed that line. I had to.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I forgot that line.
Because I watched it, I'm like, what is labs?
So
wait, so they're going to build a new Blender.
But using, but with all the knowledge that we are going to get about what the metaverse is going to be.
Yes.
With
What
VR, AR creation.
Yep.
Probably we are not going to use mouses anymore. What a stupid mouse. What do you want to do with a mouse, right?
I know,
You can
VR.
use your hands.
Yeah.
And you can have hand trackers nowadays, so you move your finger, and that could be a mouse pointer, right? Or you do this, and then the viewport will rotate, right? I think all kinds of interfaces will happen that will allow two-handed input with a keyboard, and then you just do stuff with your hands.
Yeah.
And then you can have your screen doing things, or you have your super cool Apple glasses doing things, or a VR helmet, and you work on VR. And that's what I did mention. So Blender has to be ready for that. And we have to be ready with AI tools.
Yes.
What do you think? This is getting out of control, this whole AI.
Yeah.
We have to get this. But you can't just say to the developer team, I want to have AI, right? It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So that's what the lab could take care of, to look at, okay, so where is this going? How are we going to add this?
Yeah.
And does it require maybe some redesign or the way how we are using Blender?
Yes.
You have an AI modifier, an AI node or something, right? How does it work? This is still a lot of things that we don't know.
Yeah.
So AI is important to tame and to make sure that this is in artistic control.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that AI is open and free.
Yeah.
For real, not like how they call it currently open source, but it's not really open.
You mean Stable Diffusion's not open?
Stable Diffusion is open source, but the most famous one is by OpenAI, but there's no open.
It's not open.
In AI.
I know.
Plus they don't release
name.
their data sets because you have the training data for AIs, and that's usually not open. So this is a very wonderful business model for all the Adobes and Autodesks and other companies in the world. That they make your AI tools that do everything, typing one line of text and you have a whole movie.
Yeah.
So then you type it in a browser and then you get a film, right? So and where is open source here? What is open? Where is the control that you have over the technology?
Yeah.
It's not there. And many people might even not care, right? They say, well, yes, I just got an account on adobe.com and then type a line of text and I get my graphics or my animation.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's how it's going to be.
You look like that, right? You say, you're not a lazy artist who says, sure, if I don't have to work for my art, why would I? I can also type a text and I have it, right?
I know. Yeah.
So
That is going to be the future, by the way. It's going to be a text box.
Yeah.
That'll be Blender. A
But-
text box.
But if they, but if the competition is going that way, that means that tools like Blender will become obsolete
Yes.
or less
Yes.
relevant, right? We always need it for some things, but this is interesting enough to see, can we do that too?
Yeah.
And can we do that under our own terms?
Yeah.
So that you don't depend on a subscription from a commercial company, but that we have our own servers and our own data sets, and we are going to train our AIs with our open movies and with our data. We can have our AIs to learn Blender, right? And our AIs will start using geometry nodes, making things.
Yeah.
So, and they will be listening to you,
Yeah.
right? And you can make them do what you want.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview with Sam Altman, and he was saying that the reason they chose, because it was originally, it was open source, open AI, and then they realized that when they release a product or a feature or something, if there is any damage to society, they can't roll it back. So that was the whole reason of why they got rid of the open part, which is like, okay, so Stable Diffusion just gets around it. It's like if you want to make porn with Stable Diffusion, you can. But
But
OpenAI,
you get all
can't,
the
because they're
racist stuff and
Exactly.
the bias things. But
that's what they're afraid of.
yeah,
That's
but
what
that's
they're afraid of.
okay. But that's always going. That's one
It's
thing.
always going to
Yeah,
happen.
That's always
It's
going
not.
to
They
happen
can't really
anyway,
stop it.
and,
Yeah.
But it's a different thing. Because Blender is much smaller, we will not really have that problem.
Yeah.
But we are going to be focused on making tools for artists, and.
But if anyone can use it, I mean, you will.
Oh yeah,
You'll be making it.
Yeah,
for
but people
anyone.
do crazy things with Blender anyway.
Yeah. Have you
What?
been to the dark parts of the web?
You don't want to know all
It
the
is
dark
already.
corners of the internet, what they are doing with Blender. You don't want to know that, right?
Nope.
But
It is the main tool for that, though.
Yeah.
Already.
Pablo knows.
I know.
I heard.
I know
I heard.
some.
I heard.
I know some. But
I follow hashtag B3D for like sharing stuff, and sometimes
on
I need to
Twitter.
mute some accounts because they will show up when in the middle of a live stream, and I don't want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And Twitter does not ban porn, and it
Doesn't at all. At
just
all.
pops up, and it's like,
anyway, so
whoa.
yeah. So the Blender Lab was my idea already a year ago to set up a project to make Blender's future
Yeah.
secure and
Yeah.
to have people, to give them the freedom and the time and the space to rethink Blender.
Yeah.
Because I designed Blender in '94.
Yeah.
You know how long ago that is? Were you alive in '94? I
Yeah.
think barely.
Yeah, come
Oh,
on.
6. Come on.
Okay, you were 6?
Yeah,
6, wow. So
I was a big boy.
It's a long time ago. You were alive, but...
I'm from '86.
Ah, okay. So you're 8 years old. Yeah. Okay.
No, but it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So in 2 years' time, that's 30 years,
Yeah.
the design of Blender. So the fact that one design survives for 30 years is a big compliment.
You still think that the design from '94 is in Blender right now, even after 2.8, 2.5?
Many ways. If you visit my office, I have it on the wall, the Blender design, what I did in '94.
Yeah.
And everything that's on the wall is still in Blender. You will recognize it. Come by in my room Friday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Are you here?
Yeah, I'll be
Sunday?
here. I'll be here.
Make a
Sunday.
picture of it. This is Blender.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
That's how I envisioned this. And I think the
Is there any video of you like back in the? Because like you see the photos and you're like, Ton looks like a typical like raver, like
With
like
the
on the
blonde hair
weekend.
and the
Oh,
the
yeah,
earrings.
of course. No, raving. Yeah, I was partying, of course. I like dancing and stuff. Those days,
Yeah.
those days, those were the days. But I worked hard, right? I
Yeah.
worked very hard.
Oh,
I made 80 hours a week to make Blender.
Yeah.
Plus, I had a business. I had to do clients. And with my free time, I was coding on Blender.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's. I think that we need new, fresh brains and fresh energy to do this again.
Yeah.
I think it's good, and it's unique that as an open source project you can even say that you want it or you can do it, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's a luxury, but I think the Blender project is well funded and we are well organized. Please, everybody subscribe to the fund.
Development fund, yes.
Development fund. We need way more
Yeah.
people there too, not only corporations. That keeps us independent. But we are doing good. Right?
Yes.
It's not. I don't complain about it. And I'm going to seek additional funding for the lab.
Yeah.
I hear good things about it. So I think
That's awesome.
we are doing quite good.
That is
Huh?
exciting.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
It's a great future. Yeah.
Why do you think Blender succeeded and GIMP didn't? Tell me that.
But GIMP still exists.
It did not succeed.
I think GIMP.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but
It
GIMP
did not beat
But GIMP will
Photoshop.
be there in 5,000 years, still in the same way as it is now, probably. Right? It's very
Yeah.
stable and it keeps going. Right?
Krita, on the other hand, they do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't kept up
No,
on
but
Krita. Okay.
it was never GIMP's mission to beat Adobe.
Maybe that was the mistake.
And I'm not. I don't say that I want to beat Autodesk, but I always considered them to be our biggest challenge. And I liked it if Blender could be as good as Maya, right? It doesn't have to be better, but I appreciated a lot the efforts, especially in the 90s, what people did in designing Maya. It's a fantastic achievement. In those days, I was designing Blender, and Maya came after that, right? So, but I think
Maya.
they did a great job on it, and that's what they deserve all the credits for. And but that's what I wanted always.
Right. Yeah.
And I hope we can do that again with the next Blender project. To do something from start. And Autodesk should do that too, right? If you are listening, come on, Autodesk. What are you doing with your money? Spend it on...
Do you think they, like, is it because it just doesn't, like, looking at their, like, revenue for the year, the entertainment division with, like, Maya and Max is, like, a fraction of the money. They just, do you think they just don't care?
It's but the owners of Autodesk is a hedge fund, right? They own it, and they are only interested in money. Huh?
Right.
And the profitable part of their business is in visualization and in CAD.
Yeah,
that's where all the money goes.
Why did they buy Max and Maya? Like, that's crazy. Wait, was Maya
but it
always
was
alias Maya, and then they go...
3D Max was also another company first.
Discrete.
Yeah. So I don't know. I should talk to the people behind Autodesk to find out what's really in their minds. I don't understand it, right? But I do understand a little bit, and you should too. If companies get bigger, it gets also more difficult. And then the bigger you get, it gets even more difficult.
Yeah.
And then, like, imagine Autodesk is the $2 billion, $3 billion per year company. They have tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And then try to get something done.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I know.
How big is Polygon? And
34.
34 people.
Yeah.
And you probably feel already like, oh my God, I can't get stuff done anymore, right?
Yeah.
How do I get something new? And it takes forever.
Yeah, too slow again.
And when you were small, everything was like easy and moving fast, right?
Yeah. In some ways.
Some ways,
Yeah.
So it was easier in ways. So I don't envy having a business of 1,000 or 2,000 people. It
sounds like a
going
nightmare.
to be simple. They should try to, my honest advice for Autodesk would be to split up. That's the best way to do. They should split up.
Dropping truth bombs.
Yeah, but why don't they do that? I don't know. Just split off the media division and make it an independent group. Give them a nice sum of money and say, guys, you got 5 years, and you have to beat the Blender Lab. That would be nice. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
A tutorial on how to beat Blender.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Adobe. You also know what to do, right? Run with.
They're doing
AI.
it already.
AI, please get your AI working. Get characters to work, and put everything in the cloud.
Yeah.
They should do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm not afraid for the competition, and the ideas are free.
Yeah.
And making ideas happen, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Wait, that was the saying for something, I think. Yeah, that was the slogan of a company. But yeah.
So, now I'm quitting. I let you
not
guys...
Blender.
Well, I was like...
the podcast.
Quitting with the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no worries. Yes.
I wish you guys fun, and see you later.
Thank you for dropping in.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. All right.
I think I'm going to go there.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. And then I will turn.
Are you quitting all together?
No. Pablo's going to sit here. Yeah. All right. He's going to check the video. This is live from Amsterdam.
Killed it.
Yeah.
I can listen to these people for 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, we had within that span 1,900 viewers. So there you go. Thanks, Ton.
Bad. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Dropping some truth bombs.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good.
That's
what we like to hear.
Hello,
yeah, I'm glad he specified the Blender Lab thing, because I did not get that from his keynote. I was like, what?
No, it's amazing that he has these ideas in his mind that just they go beyond. You know, online you see people complaining about Blender this, Blender that, or like a feature, like a small feature here and feature there. But the vision, how do you have the vision? What do you like? Do you do that also with your companies? As in, do you have like in 10 years? Because for example, in the last conference, one of the few last conference where you were here, one of your presentations was about AI. About in the future, everything's gonna be like you write a text, and then you get a model, or you get a texture, for example, that AI makes a texture for you. Yeah. And then you went ahead and made a website about handmade textures, honestly. So it's like so are you preparing for the future in that sense?
I mean, to be honest, it's just blown away our expected timelines. Like back then, the only thing, there were like a few papers where it had like a bird, right? And it was like, you could type in like a yellow bird with a red beak and you got like a realistic bird. But it's just birds. And also it's a paper, a technical paper. So they're only showing you the best results. So I'm like, look, guys, 10, 20 years in the future, maybe, right? 3 years later, OpenAI keeps like reinventing how to make AI work. And they just like smashed it with this diffusion transformer thing that they just like released. And then Midjourney copied it and Stable Diffusion, I guess. And then it seemed like overnight, everyone went, oh my God.
And so fast. At the beginning of the year was, hey, we can do images. And then, we can do videos. And now we can do 3D models.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, it's one of those things. Like it's a conversation at Polygon, because I am of the idea that like within 2 years you'll be able to probably replicate most AAA standard models with a prompt within 2 years. Most. There will always be edge cases you'll always need, but most. And so, that definitely is a threat to the business. But it's also like there are things outside of assets, like an asset library. There is. These aren't, training. There is asset management software. There is, all sorts of metaverse implementations that you can try to feel. So it's like, I don't know, you can either pivot or like go hard into AI if you wanted to compete on assets. So it's still, it's a big topic at the company.
Yeah, it is. But unless you embrace it and then make it as part of it. Yeah. Because right now you have the handmade ones that are going to be, again, all resolutions and all this perfect tileable and everything. Yes. But then you could also provide because there's no best 3D, like texture AI building system yet. Yes. Right? Yes. So you could be the first one. So you can offer, and the convenience of having it in the software itself. Yeah. The only thing that like I have no AI experience. So hiring somebody to do it, especially now with every AI researcher getting thrown millions of dollars, it's like it just sounds like almost a guaranteed failure. So it's anyway. It's a big bet. It's gonna take a while. It is a huge bet. Yeah. I'll turn those down. But that was a fun AI discussion. I'm curious actually to ask you, how long have you been with like in Netherlands, Amsterdam, working here? Since 2008. That is 14 years. Yeah. The first time I came for a small project for Yo Frankie, the video game version of Big Bug Bunny. Then next year I was around Europe, and then, hey, do you want to make a DVD? Venom's Lab. So I did that. And then the year after, Sintel, and the year after another DVD, and the year after, I don't know, Tears of Steel, Cosmos Laundromat, I don't know. Yeah. Caminandes 1, 2, 3. There was always a reason to be around here. The problem was that Blender didn't have the funding to actually hire people full time. Oh, so you were always
making and selling products.
Oh
almost.
yeah. Like okay, Venom's Lab. We have this amount of. We need to sell this amount of DVDs to make it worthwhile. And yeah, we did for the
I
first
bought
Venom's
that
Lab.
DVD, by the way.
Thank you very much. We in one day we covered the expenses. of everything.
Damn.
One day,
Dude.
pre-sale even.
Yeah,
that
that's
was pretty cool.
wild.
And well, that was back in the days, right? And since then, it was whenever it was a product base, until we managed to get the Blender Cloud system, a subscription system, and that with the money coming in every month, then we managed to hire a small team. We were like Francesco, Sergey, Andy, and myself, and Hjalti. It was a small team.
Yeah. And is that the institute, like Blender Institute? That's that side of it, powered by this.
Well, yeah, we have we're getting better at it, but yeah, we had an identity crisis at some point. So Blender is split into between the Blender Foundation, which owns what protects the Blender code,
Intellectual property.
Yeah,
Yep.
with only Ton like symbolically being there part of the foundation. But then there is the institute side of it for the developers, and then there is the studio side of it, Blender Animation Studio, which it's where most people are. Well, the artists.
Yeah.
I'm now. I think I am in the Blender Institute. I don't know. I have to check my paycheck.
Okay.
But it is. So I'm covered by the Blender Development Fund.
Okay. Oh, okay. And there was talk. So what's happening with the studio, and are they merging into?
No.
No. Oh,
No.
so
Actually, it was split. Back in the days, Blender Studio was like more of a symbolic. Until a few years ago, when we actually made a new company, a new business called Blender Studio, and that hires the people for the studio, paid by the Blender Cloud, which is studio.blender.org now. We renamed it, and then there is the development fund, which covers development mainly and some other stuff like the things that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So it's two income sources, and then there is the donations for the development for Blender Foundation, which go to Blender in general. For example, the Blender conference is mainly paid by tickets, sponsors, but whatever is not managed to be covered by that is donations to the Blender Foundation.
Okay, got it. Wow. Yeah, it's the interesting split. How many people then are at the headquarters? How many people are there, like on a day-to-day?
It varies, but we are about 20, I would say. 20, sometimes 18, 25, depends on the project.
Full-time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 18 to 20.
Full-time, there's now there is more few that are coming a few days a week for like recording videos of the process. Like we want to...
I met an editor who's going to be doing the behind the scenes stuff. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, we actually hired 2 videographers and recently, because I don't know, there were so many big moments at Blender that are not recorded on video. Some I managed to make videos, but like when the game engine was removed, I made a little video about it. That was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Then when when Blender Internal was removed, when 2.8 came out, when 3.0 came out, the release of Blender 2.8 happened inside an Uber in LA, going from a Starbucks to the SIGGRAPH Convention Center.
Really?
Yeah.
2.8 was released.
2.8 was released on the back of a taxi.
Nice. Oh, that's crazy.
And that I don't know if you can have someone in the taxi making a video about that.
Yeah.
I took a
with
picture.
An iPhone. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so 20 people. And what the institute and the studio, I assume, also hires people remotely.
Yeah.
So 20 plus how many remote?
I don't know. I think in total it must be 35 people or so.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are remote. Yeah.
Okay. And what is the percentage makeup? I assume like some are admin, some are artists, and some are developers?
Yes. Most of them are developers.
Okay.
There is admins, of course, to keep the developer.blender.org website going on, the dev talk, the system, every time the blender.org gets attacked by,
Damn, really? That happens. Yeah,
that happens often. But also, developer, web development, we have Blender as a software is only one part of what Blender is nowadays, right? We also have the render farm system, Flamenco. We are preparing the extensions.blender.org platform. We are thinking about Blender apps. It's another concept that we are working on. Blender Lab is improving. The studio.blender.org, the fund.blender.org, the conference.blender.org, the open data.blender.org.
Damn.
It's a lot.
So, most of the people doing the conference and the, I guess the admin side, that's like the, admin plus the artists, I guess, are kind of helping. Are you primarily admin or art?
Good question. I'm a mess. I mean, I started as a character artist in Joe Frankie.
Yeah.
Then lighting artist in Sintel. Then I directed the Caminandes films. Then lighting for Spring. Then I started like following everything new in Blender, and I was once involved with the UI, so I wanted to follow everything. Whenever they change a shortcut, hey, I want to know. And so I was reading all the commits every day, so might as well talk about them on YouTube. So I made the live streams, which people then wanted to have it as a weekly event. Yeah. And so now Mondays I only do YouTube. Like I just focus on what's new in Blender, and the rest of the week it depends so much. I work UI, Blender UI parts of it, like reviewing the patches, then designing maybe new sections of a UI. But then one day it's like, we have Flamenco, the render manager. We need a UI for it. Cool. All right. So this week I'm gonna do web development, web UI, and the conference website. We need a schedule. Okay. So we're gonna make the schedule website. So yeah, it goes from CSS to Python to PenPot, which is like Figma but open source, to Blender itself.
Wow.
I don't know. It's a mess. But I like it. You never get tired. Every week is different.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I kind of figured it would be a multi-varied role.
Yeah. Right now, like next week, I have to start focusing on the release notes for 3.4. You know, when Blender gets released, there is this page with the features. Well, I make that too. So that takes me at least two weeks or more.
Whoa. And that's like what, coming up with like documentation, the pictures, the videos.
It's like, okay, what is the big feature? All right, so let's make a line. What is the line of this? You know, I think the last one was power to last or something like that. And then each one has its own, it owns like a phrase. Yeah. For example, when Metal, the Apple backend for the graphics, I did like a pedal to the metal. For metal, and then or like Intel Inside for the Intel addition in the last release. So yeah, a bit of PR basically.
Okay. Marketing, PR. Okay.
PR and design. I like to code a little bit too. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
PR.
Great.
Yeah.
That's wow. So what does a typical day look like at the institute? It's or the headquarters. Sorry. It's like what, 20 people just sort of rock up. You make coffee, and then everyone just gets to work?
Yeah. People start coming from like at 8:30 or 9, and some people come like at 11-ish. I am one of those. I don't have other people in my team pretty much. I only work with Francesco directly. So I have a bit more flexible. But the art team, for example, start arriving at 9, 10, and at 11 every day, but Mondays, every day they have the kickoff, the art kickoff. So they see what they have done the day before. Yeah. And they do like a maybe half an hour, 1 hour meeting, maybe less, half an hour. Okay. About, just to catch up. So what did you do yesterday?
Stand-ups.
Yeah, stand-ups basically. Yeah. And that's the art team. The developers also do that on Mondays because more of for the whole week. Yeah. And then they do like per module. They talk to each other, of course. But on Mondays, they do the whole development team. Okay. Also in person and also online. Okay. So they have two. Yeah. And that's how it starts. On Mondays, we also have the kickoff in the entire office at 10 a.m. We get together. It's like, okay, this week we have visitors, these visitors, or they're changing something, or we're trying a new alarm system, or like I don't know, there's the birthday of someone. There will be cake. Or we also have Wednesdays presentations. We have in the canteen, we call it, in the kitchen basically of the new building. We have a big screen where if you have something to say, you can go and make a presentation for it. So you send an email to to the team. We have a mailing list, and then we say something. It's like, I'm going to write a blog post about X. So can you guys give me some feedback? So you go there, make a presentation, show them what you're working on, code, art, websites, whatever fun that you're doing. Because not everybody has to be there. You can say like, okay, I'm going to give a presentation. Whoever's interested can show up. And then you get some feedback from the team itself before making it public. Sometimes those presentations are made public. Are like we record everything, and we put it in our own channels, internal. Yeah. But if the presentation is good for the entire community, we put it up. Yeah. And then that's it. And then at 1, we always have lunch. Yep. We have a come and serve like. We open the fridge, put everything on the table, and then everybody gets sandwiches mainly and prepare whatever. We have soup day on Tuesday. Ton prepares eggs for everybody. Ton really makes eggs for 20 people. Wow. Yeah. And more than 20 because some people have 2 eggs, and it's like for I don't know how long he's gonna keep doing it. I think when we reach like 30 people, you can't do it anymore. You can't do that many eggs. Yeah, no, that can't. It's like it takes an hour.
It's gonna be your responsibility now.
We all have responsibilities, which we call the monkey butler. I don't know if you heard of it because we've been doing it since we were back in the old building. Okay. And so one person every week for the entire week, we'll take care of like filling in, like grabbing all the cups and putting the dishwasher to run. And then when it's over, you gotta clean it and clean the kitchen, prepare lunch. And it's, I don't know, it's not abuse. It's not, but it is a fun way to, connect with the rest of the team. Yeah. Yeah. At some point, we're gonna get someone dedicated for that, I think. But for cooking. But on one way, it makes you talk to people more. Because you gotta go, it's like, okay, how many eggs do you want? Cool. Do you want salad? Yes. No. You want soup? We have soup day also. It's like, what kind of soup do you want? So you have to go and talk to everybody. Oh my God,
so much food logistics.
It gives you, the food logistics. I mean, we get lunch as covered by Blender.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of the Blender Development Fund money and the studio fund money goes to food.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Damn. By the way, is Ton vegan?
No.
Oh, okay. I just wondered because like I was looking at the meals. I'm like, all the meals are vegan. Is this a Ton thing?
No. We just decided there is a few vegan and vegetarian people in the team. But in general, I mean, I think it's a good thing to move towards, especially on big events. Because it is. Why not? It is healthier for sure, and I mean, it's not like you're going to die.
That's true. It's very true.
It's actually, I mean, you might as well if you're gonna eat something, might as well.
It's true. It's not bad. Yeah,
it's not bad. And for an event for so many people, you actually make a tiny little bit of impact. And maybe someone tries vegan food for the first time. I mean, it makes a positive change on their life. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. My daughter's allergic to egg and dairy. Yeah. Which basically means she's vegan, except she eats meat. Yeah. But it's amazing, how good the vegan food is today.
It's amazing.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I bought some vegan jerky in the States. And I was like, jerky is like pretty bad. So like the bar was already pretty low. But this was like, it's on standard. I'm like, I mean, they did jerky.
They did, man. There's always... there's always many ways of doing the same thing. You can eat vegan or regular food, or you could use so you can apply it to software. Like when I have to find a image viewer because whatever, or any kind of software, why not? I always first try to look for the open source version of it and see if it works. If it doesn't, then I go with the other. But why not? It's like something nice to have an exercise.
Yeah. True. Interesting. Yeah. I got to change the tone quite a lot.
Cross arms.
So something. So when Ton was giving his keynote and he was talking about his health issues, so glad he recovered. So glad. Same. And horrible to think about this as the immediate thing, but it's like, okay, it would be, I hope he lives a very long life, but what do you think would happen if, heaven forbid, Ton was to pass? What would happen to Blender? That is a huge tone shift.
We had
from
vegan food and
I know, and then we're suddenly like, bam. Let's talk about this heavy stuff.
All right, so
because I mean, to be honest, a lot of people do ask, and I'm like, I don't really know what would happen. What do you think?
I think we as in the Blender staff, Blender people, Blender team, Blender HQ. You know, Blender is made by the community, and so at the team itself in the Blender HQ, we felt that. We felt like that. Yeah. When we learned that Tom was going through that,
right.
We for us it was okay. Let's plan for that, for the worst case.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it sped up things, organizational things. It made us think about, okay, what exactly? Okay, so what we have to do? Who are the roles? What happens? Okay, so the main thing to think about was, okay, who's going to lead the Blender Foundation, right? So Ton nowadays, he's the vision, right? But also he keeps everyone together, right? He knows how to talk to everyone and to keep people motivated.
Yeah.
And that is something that you learn with having, 40 years of making open source. Not in nobody of our team could do that, but we can do it together because we are all here in Amsterdam. We left our families, our friends, our hometowns to come and help the Blender project, right? We didn't come for the paycheck, for the fame, for the glory. We came because we love Blender, right? As a tool, as a creation tool, the philosophy, the fact that we can share, we can make a thing, we can share it, we can talk about it, we can make an event that everybody has this philosophy, right? So we have something in common, and I think all of us together could try to cover what Ton's vision is, and what Ton is doing. Of course, it's going to be the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
But I think in the future for the Blender Foundation, if there was a Blender Foundation without Ton, which actually he talked about it in 2019, he's like, okay, I'm going to retire in 10 years, in 5 years. This accelerated the decision a bit, but in one way, it was we are all super happy, of course, with the outcome. But in a way, it accelerated the organization in a way that it was good.
Right.
You know how COVID was terrible.
Yeah.
But there are good things that came from it, in a way.
Yeah.
Because I think people started caring more about hygiene, or people starting being more careful about
there is
things.
Silver linings to every.
There are places where technology got better because they were forced to learn from, go to school from home.
Yeah.
So there are good things that came from it.
That's
and
right.
I think in our case, it did. It was tough, but we all learned that, okay, if when Ton retires, because he plans to retire at some point, he's still going to give advice to the Blender Foundation, or like an advisor, but he's still going to have the vision. But at some point, he has to.
When is he retiring?
Well, in the presentation before, he said like 5 years or so. Like not like okay, bye, but like at least stop going to the office every day.
Okay.
Like being there to help, but it's spend more time with Bowie, his dog, and less time at the office with us, replying emails every day and making
that's good
20x for everybody. Yeah. So I think in the future for the Blender Foundation, for a Blender Foundation without Ton, is a board of members, people that has been around for a while and that share the vision and the philosophy that Ton has been teaching us all these years.
Yeah.
I think we all been here. Like Andy has been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
He's been to every Blender conference 2002.
Yeah.
Francesco has been there since 2011, officially for like working on Tears of Steel. But before that, he was helping around with websites and stuff. I've been around for 14 years. I don't know, everybody. Even outside of the Blender HQ, like you can have Bart, for example. He's been with Blender Nation since 2005.
That's right.
So that's someone also to keep around and have advice.
Of course, yeah.
So the future without Ton is, I don't know, 10, 15 people to cover what
Right.
he's doing.
Cover the mission. Yeah. So you would have a core team, a board that would be essentially trying to maintain the vision that Ton had for Blender.
I think so. I am not sure. This is not official, of course. This is just
Sure,
what,
sure.
what
No,
I
no,
think.
of course.
What do you think that Blender should do? A Blender foundation without Ton should be?
I mean, it could obviously go two ways. I think either way, what happens, there's always going to be, when a founder leaves the company, there is always a drop in stock, let's say.
Yes.
And for open source, there's no stock, but there is for sure going to be people who are like, the vision is gone, it's out, it's going down, you know. And no matter what happens, even if you make all the right decisions, people will always say, Tom will never have wanted that.
Yeah,
So it's basically big shoes to fill, regardless, you know, which is, I guess, just expected. You know, whatever happens, that's what you would expect as well. But I also think it's smart that Ton is, you know, planning to do less and less days, because then you're forced to solve problems that you would otherwise rely on him for.
Yeah.
So I think that's a strong, a promising future, I think, regardless of what happens. So
It is. I'm excited about it. I think we are. I don't know if the word is prepared, but we are pretty much. We have something in mind, and Francesco was producing the short films and taking care of Blender Foundation stuff when Ton wasn't there. And when we received the news on February 2020, so we received the curfew, the lockdown started in March or so here in the Netherlands. So we got two big news on the same year. 2020 was tough in that sense. So I think and Francesco grew as a leader in so much in that short period of time, that I think with Francesco leading the rest of the team and keeping us together, it's going to be. Yeah, we're in good hands. We all want Blender to be the
success,
the best 3D technology in the hands of artists all around the world. That's the mission.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Free and open source forever.
Yeah.
We still have to keep repeating that forever part. You know, every time we get a new sponsor, it's like, oh no, you're gonna get bought by X. Dude, can't happen. It's
impossible. Yeah.
It's impossible. You have to. There's people that contributed to Blender that you would need to convince, but they're no longer around.
Yeah. So how could you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
you could never sell the code without all the contributors agreeing to it.
Exactly.
Which will never happen.
Yeah. And even then, if you raise people from their graves and then convince them to change the code, up until that day, the code will still be free and open source. So you're going to have an army of people online to continue the project. Yeah. So it never dies. It really never dies. It just continues. Yeah. It's not like Linux will stop being like available after Linux Torvalds is gone, right?
True. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
It's the bull has left the pen.
Yep. It's an unstoppable force.
Yeah, that's cool. It's very cool. How do you think of, like, because you have surely seen like the last 3 years, 3 or 4, I think probably 4, like start at 2.8, Blender seemed to just skyrocket in user adoption, right? Yeah. And it just seems like almost like exponential growth. Like, as I said, I was at the Lightbox recently, and it was just like everybody is using Blender. And it felt like a different world than what I remembered, you know, because it's first conference, and just like people that are not like Blender enthusiasts, because I always imagine like Blender is this like little cult in Netherlands. They meet every year. There's 200 of them, and they go, Blender's cool. And then they spread out, you know. And then it was just this bigger thing, and it's just like people who just use it as part of their day job. And it's like, damn, this is like, it's really, really grown. I don't know. It's cool, right?
It's crazy. We see the numbers, the download numbers, and it's like it was 10 million. When we reached 10 million was huge, but then it was like 10, 12, 14, 18. Last year I think it was 18 or 20 million downloads that
Yeah.
we record on blender.org. And
Yeah,
then there
yeah.
is other places where you can get Blender, of course.
True,
Where you can
Steam.
compile Blender. So
Yeah.
it's really out of control nowadays. I don't know. I don't know if there is a roof to it or not. But
Yeah.
it has grown so
What
much.
would you guess as the user base size?
The user base size. I like to think. I don't. Why would someone download 4 times the same build? And
I
so
do.
it's you do, but
'Cause
like the official build.
different computers.
Yeah.
You know, download it on the Mac, download it on the thing.
And you
download-
use the official releases.
Yeah, like from the website. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Okay. So there is people doing that.
yeah.
But I don't know the user base. I don't know because
I put
I
it
would
at
like
like
to
5 mil, but I don't know. Do you think it's higher?
actually I would say that's about right. But how do you even measure that? It's impossible.
Active users. Yeah, that's
Active
right.
users. Like for example, your videos, your tutorial videos have millions of views. Are there really millions of people? Millions. It's like a country size, you know, that are actually using it, or they're just curious to see it and then it's over.
Exactly. Yeah, it is too hard to track without like sharing analytics
Yeah.
to the Blender website when you're opening and using the software.
We don't. I mean, I think it would be fun one day to do it like explicitly. Of course, you will. I don't know if one day you could manually go and download yourself an add-on that contributes stats. So someone you have to be actively downloaded and activated. That would be fun to see
Yeah.
what people are at, how many times they open it a day, how many times it crashes a day. I think it would be fun. But the
You
user
could
base,
make it like part of the download, right? Just have a like share analytics or no, I don't want to share analytics.
that never. The no, I don't want to, like Audacity.
You don't want it?
No. It should be something explicit that, I mean, that you have to download. You have to trigger maybe. I don't know,
What about if
go
it's like
through
opt
5
out
clicks.
by default, but like you can opt in if you click?
That's less bad. But I would still like to make people really sure and see beforehand an example of what they're going to share. So, for example, this is what is going to be shared. So it's going to be your screen resolution, your graphics card, your Blender, your operating system, obviously. I don't know if you use left click, right click, the user preferences. That's completely. That's not. Like
No.
I've seen
that
nothing
stuff
bad
is-
with it. I don't think.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can do it like maliciously or you can do it well.
Yeah. No, I think it should be transparent, and also people can see the code.
Yeah.
So as if you can make it transparent, obvious for everybody, and people can see it. So I don't think it would be extremely bad. I think it would be valuable because right now you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's areas in Blender that you wonder, are people using these things or not?
Yeah.
There is sometimes the only way we have to measure those things is if people report issues on that. It's like, is there, I don't know, are people using NURBS or are they just so good that
Right. I know.
because we don't get any reports. So I don't know if people are not using them or
I think not using.
not using. But imagine how cool would it be? It's like, okay, what is the most popular primitive that is used?
Oh yeah.
And then you could put that first in a menu. That would be awesome. Like
there's a lot you could get from analytics.
I would love that. Like
Why don't you do it? You could chuck it in. Like it opt
you
out
could,
by
but
default. You got to opt in.
You have to be really well designed. You
Yeah,
have to
but
be really,
it can be done. But then you could it could inform so much, as you say, about Blender's
I think
defaults, options.
something like this has to come from the community and not from Blender Foundation.
Okay.
I think Blender Foundation could take the initiative to say like, hey, we would like to build the best analytics stats system ever and the most transparent one ever. So we can improve Blender. Just to make sure that the font size is the right size or that the left click, right click thing is fine. Or if you're going through a menu 20 times, okay, well, this needs a shortcut apparently, right? So, but let's build it together, everybody, as a product, as an actual thing. And then make it available only opt-in.
Okay.
That will be cool. Do you do any of that that you can talk about?
At Polygon? Yeah. I mean, we've got an add-on, a new add-on that now pulls from the website. Yeah. So you don't need to open the browser anymore to get assets. You just type in, hit download, and it just brings it into the Blender scene. And so we've got like on install, like when you log in, it just says like share usage analytics or not.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it like the guy who developed it, Patrick Crawford, actually like Blender developer a while ago. But yeah, he worked at Google for a few years and is very aware of not collecting too much information. So we made sure that it's like, yeah, you're not sharing everything just in case you need the data.
Yeah. No.
So we're not doing that. But it's great because it tracks, like how many people are using old versions of the add-on.
Oof.
How many crashes is it per user? What is the daily active users? So you know when the software or the add-on is doing well because active users is going up. And so you got it all in a chart and you can track it. And it's like, okay, we need to hit this or else we're not really doing anything. So that stuff is really valuable to lead product direction. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for a product like Blender or like Polygon, I think it does make sense. Unlike a browser, I mean, I like Firefox, but I think their analytics are on by default, and it's a browser, so you have access to everything. So please let me know in a clear way what you're doing.
Yes,
because I'm doing all kinds of things there. In Blender, what can you know? How many polygons? I mean, unless you take a screenshot of what you're doing, but you can't really. It's all numbers and polygons, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, I think people would also realize that like they're taking too much if it's starting to upload megabytes to the internet. Like clearly it's too much information.
It is. It's Blender. We have the one of the principles of Blender is that it should always work without an internet connection. You should be able to do everything you want without an internet connection.
Yeah.
But if you have it enabled, of course, you get access to obviously things that are online.
Yeah.
In the future, we would like for people to know if there is a new Blender version available. Because right now there is no way to know.
That's true.
There is no way if they don't actively go on Twitter or blender.org or we have Blender ID accounts, but we don't send them an email ever about anything. We could do so much more, but we have the principle that we are not.
But it could, like, I mean, that is a feature that just wouldn't work, obviously, if you're not connected to the internet. But like, it can still be like always work without a connection, but on opening, it can send a quick ping to Blender to say, is there a new version? Yes, no, yes, there is. And then there's a new version, download, right? Like that could be built in.
I think so, yeah. Not on by default, again. Okay. I think it should always be off. Yeah, but it could be, clear enough that you could turn it on. Okay. So in the help menu or in the splash screen is you could do like check for updates.
Okay.
And you check once and maybe it could tell you like there's no updates. Let me know when there is updates.
Okay.
So then you actively say that you want to.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I know it's harmless to ping a website, a blender.org website, which is secure.
Yeah.
But even then I didn't ask for it. So don't Blender, don't do this for me.
Really? Oh, okay.
I think so.
Because like I kind of see that as like I would have to remember to check a box, and I just because like the default is always 99% of users.
Yeah.
And like if you were the sort of person who didn't want something to be sent, the harmless like is there a version, you would just like turn it off if that annoyed you. You know what I mean? But like most people would probably appreciate the checking for the new version. Because I'm the same. Like, I've gone weeks. I've recorded tutorials in an old version of Blender, not realizing there was a new one.
Yeah.
Because, again, I only learn about it from Twitter. Yeah. And if I'm off Twitter for a week, I just don't know there was a release.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will benefit from it. But we got to be transparent with this kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
So we're building the extensions platform for a place where Blender can... in the future, but for the time being, users can find add-ons, key maps, themes, asset libraries from blender.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Cool. It's going to prove this internet access thing.
Yeah.
We had to build it properly. But once it's built, I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think Blender has to connect to the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
Nowadays, you need, unless you want to ship Blender with like a ton of textures, whenever you want a glass shader, you gotta either make it yourself from scratch every time.
Yeah.
Have it yourself added into the asset library, or get it online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's still too, like I was talking to William rainish last night. I was asking him like, what do you think Blender needs? You know, what changes would you make? And we were just sort of like talking, and he was mentioning like when he talks about making Blender simpler, some people go like, oh, what are you trying to, you want to just eventually get to a place where there's just a text box that says, hey, what do you want to build? And he's like, yeah, actually. It's like it's still like, despite how much it's grown and gotten so much easier for people to start and it's more accessible, it's still so technical.
But
like
it's 3D, right?
It is, but there is always going to be stuff that that it could do to make artists' creation time shorter whilst not sacrificing any flexibility. You know, like if you had let's say a prompt box that was like, what do you want to make? And it was like a meadow with a tree in the background and a pond and birds flying and blah, blah, blah. Which for sure I think will happen. Maybe some software will have it, probably Unreal first. And then you generated it. Then if you just had the rest of the software exactly as it was, that wouldn't sacrifice flexibility. It would just speed up the initial creation part. So then you only need to modify what is existing to do it, you know?
Yeah, but imagine if that was applied for music.
Yeah.
And the musician will go, okay, make me a hit music, you know, everything would sound the same. And then it would go ahead and then to make tweaks. But again, there is a structure in music that you could follow already, right? Yeah. You have the bridge, you have the build-ups, you have but if that was the case, everything would look the same. If you do that with Blender, at least the beginning would start to look the same.
It would, but I think it would also just be a moving target, because if everything starts to look the same, people would then have to look for ways to stand out. Yeah. So it would be either coming up with a new prompt or idea that no one had ever thought of.
There has to be a middle ground. Nobody wants to make a cube from scratch all the time, from 0 vertices, right?
Yes.
That's why you add a cube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So if the middle ground is somewhere, okay, build me a house in the fields.
Yeah.
If you get the building blocks, then okay. Or a character, especially or sculpting.
Yes.
That you just, you start with basic shapes and then remesh and sculpt on it.
Yeah.
So there is potential for that. But again, having access to the individual vertices to be able to move them and tweak them.
Yes, you need that.
There's a lot of potential in that.
You need that, yes. Yeah. You always need the ability to tweak it.
I think that applies more for textures. If in the image, like right now, we're building the texture paint side of Blender, right?
Yes.
Everything about painting and making
when
textures.
When is that coming, by the way? New texture paint.
There is there is work going on. One of the strategic targets for 2022 was to have texturing, and there is work being done, but apparently it was way more than expected from everywhere, from performance, from making Blender faster to paint, because you could have the best painting system in the world, but if you paint and it takes a while to updates, nobody's going to use it. So it has to be fast first, and then you add the complexity on top, because when you want to paint, you want to paint in layers, right? Blender doesn't have a concept of layers yet. It's one image at a time, one material at a time. You can't layer materials, right? You can only layer shaders. So you want to be able to layer materials. You want to be able to layer textures.
Right.
It turned out to be a lot more work than expected, but there is work being done. There is something that it's really promising, is that Brecht, creator of Cycles, is working on the layer textures, layer materials, all that kind of things. Yeah. But you know him. He when he made Cycles, he just suddenly appeared with Cycles. And he worked on Cycles X. He worked together with Sergey, and suddenly they came up with hey, we have a new version of Cycles, by the way.
Damn.
So it's kind of nice.
It's cool.
It's open source still, of course, but keeping it a bit, secret, not secret, because there are blog posts about it and documents online. It's not like just making it and then here it is. But there is work being done. But again, back to the AI side of things, the make me a house button. This could be applied for textures, right? Because texture, wood is wood, rock is rock, right? Yeah. So you could imagine, go to the image editor. You can make new image, you can make UV image, or you can load an image. What if you can have like new AI generated image?
Yeah.
And you just type, I want a wood, tileable, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have it.
Yeah. That's what Polygon's scared of.
Unless you pioneer that.
Yeah.
Unless you
Well, I mean, we're already like SD is stable diffusion already has it. So, yeah, it's
yeah, we still have to download gigabytes of models. Right?
Oh yeah.
So generating
it's not great at the moment, stable diffusion. But it'll get better.
Really new.
It's very new. That's why it's
asking a lot for.
I know exactly. But it's for sure it's going to be insanely popular in the future.
It is.
We are.
How are we on time?
Yeah, we should probably round up the ending. Someone says Pablo's going to break his headphone cable if he keeps fighting with it.
Oh, not sorry, fiddling. Yeah, I know. How can you even see that from I'm like 5 pixels long? Okay, cool. Now I didn't even know that you could see that. All right. When are you coming back with your podcasts? With your
I've been doing them, but on a different channel. So it's called the Andrew Price Podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was originally just publishing it to the Blender Guru channel.
Yeah.
Trouble was like YouTube, like
punished you.
Well, yeah, it's like because it's a completely different audience. So some people watch it, but then when I release a tutorial, it's like, is this a podcast again? Maybe show it to just a small amount. And so it was just confusing. So I just like, all right, it should be on a different channel. So
it is.
Yeah, it's called the Andrew Price Podcast.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen you like promoting it as much.
No, I mean, I got to hire another editor to put it up on like socials and stuff to do those snippets, reels.
They work so well, like on TikTok and Instagram. And
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll do that, but it hasn't been promoted very well. Yeah.
Okay, but you like doing it, and you're gonna continue.
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
It's fun to talk to people. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
With so much going on.
Yes.
What about Blender Guru? You have a plan for the future, or you just continue putting out tutorials?
It's still a distribution. It's basically just free distribution for Polygon.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Like,
But
it pays a little bit in ad revenue.
But you're an artist. Don't you feel like, we really want to make this kind of like a building, and then you spend. Do you do any art nowadays? With
but then I end up just like, because every time I do it, I'm not focusing on Polygon. So it's like I've got 30 people at the company now. There are things that need to be managed, and there are things I don't want to do, but I have to do because I'm the founder and the leader, and if I don't do them, the company will fail, or whatever. If I'm doing art, there's other people that could do art, right? Like, it's not the only thing that I can do, but there's only me that can run the company. So the best use of my time is that, even though I love art and I want to do that. So it just means I don't get to do art as much as I used to.
If you would go and do art for a month, the company would feel it?
No, it's just, it wouldn't, it's like the company would just be, it would stagnate maybe, or there are people that would depend on work that wasn't being able to get done, or like if I'm able, like every day, like if I go in and like check the stats, see the latest downloads, what's been popular, what's not, or hear that the add-on development is going in this direction, but it actually should be this direction. If I like, all that is like small tweaks every little day, like at the podcast.
Yeah.
And like if I just detoured for a month and did nothing, almost like coming here, like going to conferences, it's like things could just start to go in different directions when they shouldn't.
Oh.
So it's like you gotta stay focused on what is important. And
but where is the end of that? Do you have a target? Like, okay, do you want to get to 1,000 employees, or you say, okay, when we reach 50 or 100, and then I can be twice a week involved in it?
No, it's really to grow, to basically create a product that people love and want to use every day as to improve their workflow. And we keep it loose like that because it can be anything. It could be assets, as I said, asset management, tutorials. It could be anything that we build. And that's really it. So I mean, the tagline for the company is better renders faster, and that's really what we're trying to do. Like, help artists make better renders faster in whatever way it could be. So the end goal is to grow that and grow revenue. Hopefully bootstrapped. Hopefully we don't need funding for basically until we got acquired, probably.
And then you can go back to the art.
Maybe, then I go back to the art.
The art,
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that happen. I would like to see what would Andrew Price make if he had like 3 months to make to make art.
You know what it is now though? Like, now that I'm so used to hiring people, that like now if I open up a Blender scene, I only do the things I want to do, and then I just write down in like the notepad thing next to it. Like, I want you to like add in, I want you to model this, I want you to model this.
Almost
everything
like
I don't
AI.
want to do. Exactly. And then I upload it to Dropbox, and then Pablo, my assistant, who's in Poland, he starts his day when I end mine, and then he goes in there and fixes it. And then the next day I come back and I go, not like that, like this.
You're using AI, but already.
Yeah.
Wow. But how about short films making? Is that something that interests you?
I would love to. Yeah. I'd love to. Yeah.
So what?
Because as I
You
said,
have a
like,
huge community. You could.
oh
do
yeah,
something.
of course. But then it's like I'm not doing like, here's the thing, the NFT thing that I did, the donuts, like that was like an idea that I'm like, I gotta do this thing. That'd be cool. And then it just was months of work, like just so much time, and all for nothing.
Well,
they did sell eventually, the dozen. Yeah. But still, it was one of those things where it was like.
But what would be the target? If you make we've made films with at Blender, and not all of them are as popular as others, right? I think my favorite film that we made is Cosmos Laundromat, and it's probably the least viewed one from all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the Asian 3 to 7 works better. It's an
That
action
was a
scene,
hit.
3-minute action scene. The other one is longer, but yeah, it's sometimes you gotta make what you like to make, regardless of if it does well or not.
Yeah, what do they say in the movie industry? One for me, one for them. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, one for me, one for them.
Yeah.
Actually, Patrick mentioned that at some point, that he was like, "Yeah, okay, so now I'm doing the one for them, and then it's the one for me."
Yeah.
I think we should all learn to apply that when possible, of course.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to do one that makes the money, and then the one that you actually want to do.
You actually want to do. Otherwise, you die inside a little, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's you because some people go, only one for me, one for me, one for me, one for me.
Yeah.
And you kind of like want to grab them a little bit and go like, guys, you could do 100 times better than you're doing if you just made one for them, you know?
Yeah.
And then there are other people that only do one for them, and it can kind of feel a little soulless after a while. Just only make the hits, the pop chart hits, you know? So
until you hit it, like all you do, like how many years of every days of people, you know, like
yeah.
all for me for many years until you hit it, and then you
take off.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's insane.
What are your thoughts on NFTs?
Well, now things have changed, right? At the beginning was so much just
scams.
I don't know. I mean, it's people are not buying it because they're, well, I'm trying not to generalize, right? Because there is people that actually buy it because they like the art.
But 99%
they
is
buy it
just
to
investment.
resell it.
Yes.
Yeah, to resell it. So come on, where's it
going? Yeah.
Where's it going?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you do that? You don't do that with other stuff. You don't buy a chair just to, I'm going to sell it later, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Or like a painting on the wall. You should just, most of the time, unless you buy a Van Gogh, right? You
buy it because you love it.
Because you love it. Yeah. So I think once this NFT hype goes down a bit, we are going to see the actual benefits from it, which is,
I totally agree.
Which is artists making a living from the things they like.
Yeah.
I think it's really has potential.
Yeah.
It's just had a bad start. It was this hype, $70 million for a collection.
Yeah.
And then everybody wanted to jump into that, so they started making these shitty artwork, really bad. Like and then the monkeys one, which is just like a generation of like like I make a bunch of the hats and glasses and things, and then you just made like it like 10,000, and then the free one, first one for free. You probably have gotten tons of DMs of invitations. At least I get it, and I'm not nearly as and people send me
it's such a
invitations
community.
to Discord, and now you get a one NFT for free, and then
it's worse when they're like, this is a pump scheme. They tell you we are gonna scam other people. Join our group. We're all gonna make this thing skyrocket. Other people are gonna, and then we're all gonna sell it once, and we're all gonna make money. And I'm like, dude, you are an asshole. And there's so many, and they just ping you.
They just do it. Yeah.
I'm like, dudes, like,
people are like gonna remember this. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So I totally agree. Like, people have every reason to hate NFTs because they are like, it's not even like 99%. It's probably 99.99% is like, at least on OpenSea, you have to scroll for a while before you find something where it's like one artist slaved on it for a few months. And it's like, oh, there's one. Like, that's the real NFT. Yeah. That's the real one. It literally is a diamond in the rough. And that diamond sells for nothing, and all the rest, So it's so bad. It's backwards. So it's hard to defend it and go like, no, but it's good for artists, because right now it's not.
It's not. It could be. Only famous people are that are already known are actually making a profit from it. Yeah. And the poor people that they just want to make their art and sell it, they have to pay to mint it. So and they don't get anything back. So it's a bit strange. It is. So once things settle and things and NFTs become more normal, then I think it has potential, right? If you have your metaverse avatar and you're wearing a T-shirt that was made by the artist you like, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice. You support the artist. Yeah. But I think still it's some idiots have ruined the NFT. Concept and the word, you say NFT now, it's not. It is such a dirty word. It is. It is. I feel like anytime I do the hashtag, I'm like, here comes the hate. Yep. I muted. I think on my Twitter, I don't see because I muted NFT and EFT because people find other ways to mention it for some reason. EFT. Okay. I muted all that crap because I was especially because I also handle Blender's social. So people making Blender NFTs, I get a ton of it. So it's like, I can't see it. Let me know again in a couple of years. Yeah, when things settle. But other than that, what's the difference between a digital and a physical? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. One day maybe there'll be like NFTs for Blender versions. Well, anything. Blender version 4.3, you could buy the NFT, one person. Or we can all build. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But it's kind of like the potential for different revenue streams rather than either donations or ad revenue or this whole like the Patreon thing where you have to like constantly entertain. It's like, what if you could just sell the thing that you make? Wouldn't that be a thing, Yeah. Whereas we're all so used to just like, let's upload it to Instagram for nothing, and get nothing and just make Facebook money, like. Yeah, that is, it's terrible. On YouTube, you kind of are forced to follow the trends. You have to upload every week or every day or like whatever you schedule. You have to keep up with the trends, but you get some back. While other Instagram or even TikTok is ridiculous the amount you get back. So I think it's cool that artists are making their own money, but it's too early. It is too early. We are ahead of his time. Very much. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we got to bounce because Jonathan's going to want this room soon. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Pablo. Is it just the live streams that you do on the Blender YouTube channel, right? I do, on the Blender YouTube channel. On this channel. Yeah, I do the weekly live streams, mostly weekly. Yeah. And then I do the same, but in Spanish. On my own channel. It's called Blender Hoy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do it. It's ridiculous because I do it in English, 2 hours later in Spanish, and it's actually longer because we had like a contest and like a. Oh really? Yeah, that's cool. It's more like a hangout place. And what's the view difference? I'm curious. Tenfold, 20. Spanish.
is 20-fold.
No.
Oh, English.
I think
Okay.
like we do 20,000 views in English, 2,000, 3,000 in Spanish.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's nothing. I get nothing from it other than the joy of
Talking to the
of
Spanish.
talking to people and spreading the word. I think
That's nice.
I think it's important. I think of course if you do it in English you get to more people.
Yeah.
You kind of have the advantage of next if you speak English you
I
can
know.
learn a lot more and you can reach a lot more people.
Oh yeah, I have a huge advantage. I've never forgotten that.
English speakers have a huge start.
I feel so bad like meeting like the German YouTubers who do it in English because they have to, and I'm like, I feel so bad, man.
You have a head start.
I got
huge
such a head start. It's not fair. It's
Yeah.
really not fair at all. Yeah.
On the other hand, we there's nothing stopping us from doing it in our own languages. The
Yes.
problem is that there is no viewership. But if we don't do it, how do we know if there is viewership? So yesterday I had one of the presentations at the special interest groups on Spanish, like just Spanish people. And we arrived to the conclusion that if you build it, they might come. Exactly. Yeah. It may come. No,
Maybe. Yeah, that's
but
right.
it's a chicken egg. If you don't make videos in Spanish, why would you? Why would people come? The same. If we have potential, like Spanish-speaking country, there are like 21, 22 countries that speak Spanish. So the reach is huge. Mr. Beast?
Yes.
He has a channel in Spanish, dubbed. Sounds terrible. And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. So I think there is potential. We have a huge culture and very different from Spanish, Mexican, Argentinian, everything.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking for a tutorial on how to make a 3D taco, who are you going to watch? The Mexican or the German to make it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Same with like paella. Well, you're going to Spanish creator or a French,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm glad it's 10%. That's solid.
It is solid. It's not enough, not nearly enough to make a living out of it. But I think it's a good start, and it should be something that you build for the future. Because I started using Blender when I was 14 with a PDF in Spanish. I didn't know English when I was 14.
Damn.
So if it wasn't because of that one PDF that some Spanish guy made on a RAR file, I downloaded, and I wouldn't have learned Blender back then. You have to learn two things: English and Blender. It's not fair.
It's not fair at all.
At all. So I think there is potential in working on content in our own native language.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, on that note, let's leave it there. Thank you, everybody who joined into the stream, and thank you to our one physical viewer who sat through this whole thing at the back behind the camera. All right, I'll end the stream. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
End stream.
And ciao.